And so, in conclusion, there are a lot of lessons for us to learn from these three brave women, courageous women. One lesson is that God always engages when we act on faith. And they didn't have all the answers. They didn't know everything that was going to happen. But they decided to have courage, compassion, and conduct themselves in a faithful way. And whatever God they believed in and whatever they believed about God. And God certainly rewarded that. And God engaged because of what these women did. You know, it only just takes a little mustard seed. We don't have to have a ton of courage. We don't have to have a ton of compassion. We don't have to have a ton of faith. Just some little bit. Give God something to work with, because when we do, He always engages. And look at some of the things that God did. For Moses' family, He rescued Moses. I mean, for the mother, for the sister, for the father, who isn't in this story because he was probably out working as a slave. And so what they really wanted, their goal in this whole thing, was to find a way to save Moses. And God came through and saved Moses. I mean, they were fired up about that. And then on top of that, they provided some income for the family. This was a slave family. And yet, God worked it out because of the courage and the faith that they had, the compassion that they showed, the way they conducted themselves. The mother was actually getting paid to take care of her own child. I mean, that's just an amazing thing. That's a God thing. That's how God works things out. On top of that, God moved Moses into the palace. I'm sure that this was one of those things that just blew away Moses' family. When he was moved into the palace, from this place of being in bondage and slavery, all the way up to the very top and living in the palace with Pharaoh's daughter. And see, God was moving there. Pharaoh's daughter wasn't 100% sure what she was getting into, but she wanted to make a difference in Moses' life. She wanted to at least save one Hebrew boy. Not ever thinking that by doing that it was going to result in saving all of the Hebrews. But while Moses was in the palace, he could get educated. While he was in the palace, he could get leadership training. He could learn how things operate with royalty. He could obtain access to different people in power in there and know how to function in that environment. And so later on, God raises up Moses to be the one who was able to free all the Israelites. Look, Pharaoh's daughter might not have been able to save them, but she raised the son who was. And that's just an amazing way in which God worked. You know, in the church, we're kind of in that same position. No one person has all the answers. No one person can be everything and do everything in order for God to use us to be a bright light in our community. And all of us have some part that we can play. If I play my part and you play your part, and everyone plays their part, God is able to take all those parts and put them together and create this masterpiece with everyone just focusing on what they can do, with everyone being willing to be courageous, with everyone being willing to have compassion, with everyone conducting themselves in the way what they do, what they're able to do, and don't worry about what they're not able to do. They just turn that over to God. And that allows God to be able to accomplish great things through His people.